So, I read this morning that the most likely scenario in this whole Leon Edwards situation is that Leon Edwards is going to wait for the title shot against Kamaru Usman. Now, whilst he's on an 8 or 9 fight win streak, I believe it is 9 fights, he's on a 9 fight win streak, and that should guarantee you a title shot. It just doesn't work like that. Not in this day and age, it just doesn't work that way. Unfortunately for Leon Edwards, and I say this in the nicest possible way, I want Leon Edwards to do well because I'm English and, I used to train in Birmingham back in the day, and that's where he trains. So I do like Leon Edwards a lot, and I want him to do well, I want him to succeed. However, I have to say I don't think this is the best move on his part. He can sit around and he can wait for a title shot with Kamaru Usman, and it's not like the division's not got loads of contenders because Usman's beaten nearly all of them. But let's be realistic about what the UFC is. I know we all love to think that the UFC is some meritocratic organisation where the best guy always gets the title shot, and it is that much more so than other combat sports such as boxing. However, it's still not the case. Dana White will still make the fight which he thinks is going to make the most money. And unfortunately for Leon Edwards, it's not him. And I'm sorry to say that. At the end of the day, the reason where I'm getting this information from is an article basically came out where, a couple of people had called Leon Edwards out. Khamzat Chimaev, I've already done a video about that fight and the possibility of that happening. And Nick Diaz, I've just seen, has also called him out. Now this is a better fight because Nick Diaz, when I say a better fight, it's a better fight for Leon Edwards. Because Nick Diaz is a big name, probably slightly past his prime, probably not going to be able to trouble Edwards too much. However, he can still bring some money and name value to the table. So it could be quite a big thing for Leon to be, it could be quite a big rise for Leon if he were to beat Nick Diaz not in terms of quality, he's one of the best in the division, I think we all know that, but just in terms of his name. Now I understand why he said what he said. What Leon's basically gone and said is that he's off for some much needed time with his family and then he's going to see Kamaru Usman soon. So that's what he's basically tweeted out, I believe. So he's tweeted that out. But the reality of the situation is, he had 2 years off before. He fought Rafael dos Anjos in about July 2019, and then didn't fight until March 2021. So it's nearly 2 years out of the game. And even if you're on a 9 fight win streak, you still get forgotten in that situation. Like, we don't talk about GSP anymore, one of the best fighters of all time. He's on a win streak, technically. So the win streak is not enough to keep his name alive. Especially when he came back in March 2021, fought Belal Muhammad, and it didn't exactly end the way that we thought, or that anyone wanted. It was a no contest due to an accidental eye poke. So it's not as if he's come back and got 2 amazing victories. He's done that, and then he's beaten Nate Diaz, who everyone should know by now isn't a threat to the top 10 or even the top 15. So he's had 2 fights since he's been back after a nearly 2 year layoff that have not really advanced him, in my opinion. Like beating Nate Diaz, he should have beaten Nate Diaz. He was always supposed to beat Nate Diaz. Whereas Khamzat Chimaev, obviously he actually proved something for Leon Edwards. Now I understand not taking that fight, but I think if people are stepping up to fight Leon and he's had a full training camp and they haven't, I think he needs to stay active. I honestly do. Then it's a 10 fight win streak, and then it becomes very difficult to argue because it's like, well, I fought 3 times in the last year and I'm on a 10 fight win streak. Unfortunately though, if he does decide to sit out, I can't help thinking that they'll potentially run Chimaev versus Luque, or they'll run Luque versus someone else, or they may just give Luque the title shot straight away. It might be Luque versus Burns and the winner of that gets a title shot. Could be another rematch for Kamaru Usman. But this is the thing, Leon's not at a point where if he continues to stay inactive, he's not going to be the most compelling fight. He's not going to be the most compelling fight, and he's not going to get a title shot, and I'm sorry to say it. He's going to end up like Tony Ferguson. And I wouldn't want that to happen, because Tony Ferguson should have been the champion at some point and just never got the shot, despite other people who are much less qualified getting title shots over and over again. So I'm not saying this out of any kind of hatefully on Edwards. I just think it's the wrong move to stay inactive right now. I would love to see him versus Chimaev, but if not, then he needs to take a fight with, if a Nick Diaz is knocking on the door, that's someone who he knows he can beat, who's going to make quite a bit of money, and who's going to advance his name value. I don't see like it's not really a losing situation there. I know it might be a hard fight, but I don't see that he's guaranteed a title shot if he waits. Let me know what you guys think anyway. Like, I'm not trying to diss anyone here. I understand what's going on. I understand that as a fighter you don't want to sort of have fights for absolutely no reason at all. I just think sitting out at this particular time when he's already had 2 years out is not a good idea. If you agree or disagree, please leave a comment in the comment section, and if you're new, please like or subscribe, like the video or subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.